All right, basically Monday, episode 41. We are back here with the lads, the hosts, Bolero and John. How are you guys doing on this fine Wednesday night?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just yeah, it's like actually too nice outside. I was thinking of like mowing the lawn, but then one of our cats brought in a tick, so
A
that
tick?
yeah. I've never seen one before until yesterday, and that was horrifying. Oh, like having to pull a tick out like
Are
from like
you
That's
are
kind
you
of a
familiar
normal
with this,
occurrence
John?
here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
you
ticks.
said
Yeah,
what?
ticks are
You have
kind of a
ticks?
normal occurrence. Well, because like especially for Danielle, she goes on walks and stuff on hikes all the time, and she brings the
Holy
dog.
shit.
So like it's a regular thing to, especially in the summer, to at before you get back in the car to just check yourself for ticks and the dogs.
And they find some
Yeah, we found some on them before.
like attached to them?
Yeah.
Holy shit. And you just like pull them off and like
Sometimes
you're
they were
not scarred for
attached.
life.
Sometimes they were attached and sometimes they weren't. But no, why would it be scarf for life?
Oh, that was horrifying. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I never want to do that again. But I guess, like, once you do it once, like, it gets better. But, like, oh, yeah, I've never seen a tick. I've never seen that before. And that was so nasty. Like, but I guess, yeah, all
Was
right.
it big?
I think so. It was like the size of a bean,
Oh,
like a fat ass bean. Like, ugh.
yeah, that one's like pretty normal. So there's some that get like this big. Like
Oh, hell no.
if they gorge too much, like if they just don't get caught, yeah, they get to the point where they can't even
Oh,
walk.
oh, that's so disgusting. Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah, it's bad. You should look it up. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's no,
I'm
no,
gonna send
no
you a picture.
thanks. Please don't.
I'm gonna do
What?
it.
I don't want this. I do not consent.
Sorry, it's happening
So
to
how
you.
did where did this happen?
It's in our backyard
Oh
apparently.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Some of
I
these.
take my cats out like every day, twice a day, and they've never gotten a tick until Cookie came back with one. And like she like jumped up and wanted me to like pet her or whatever, and then like I was petting her neck and like I felt something. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then like I realized like immediately like as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a tick. And then like I had to like hold her down, and Lorraine had to get tweezers and like pull it off from the base. Like, ugh, it was disgusting. Like she had to pull like super fucking hard too.
You might
Like,
not want to look for
no, fuck you, god damn it.
there.
Oh man. Oh,
Yeah, so they can get really, really
that's
big.
so bad.
For those of you
That's
listening, I put a
disgusting.
picture of a very large tick. Just Google fat tick if you want to see what we're looking at.
Fat tick.
But basically, yeah, they can if they eat enough, they can just get huge.
We're trying to tell our fans to Google tick pics.
Yeah, tick
Man,
pics. Get your
like
tick
the
pics.
T and the D are like pretty close. Like if you made a mistake, you'd be googling something else.
Yeah, you would be. Just
Yeah, you
don't make any
would
mistakes.
be.
Besides googling fat tick to begin with,
Yeah,
I
Fat
should actually
tick.
probably look at this, huh?
yeah,
No, don't look at that fat tick.
yeah.
It's
What?
too
What is this?
fat.
It kind of does. It like looks exactly like a lima bean almost.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
Ugh.
So, yeah, yeah, I have no experience with ticks either. So, and I kind of don't want to. So,
Nope.
yeah, sorry
No,
about that.
sir.
So what
Yeah, but
happens now? Do you have to like put her in a fumigation chamber or something?
I don't know. I looked it up. Like, basically, they said like it's like almost harmless, except as long as you get them like off her before she's like inside and
Yeah.
like everything.
As long as you get them early, then they're fine. But
Yeah.
they spread a whole bunch of diseases. Like apparently they are the carriers for some of some of the worst things.
Yeah. But it says
Oh,
it's rare when it does happen, but it
Yeah.
when it does, it's the worst disease. Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah.
but
So
this tick like definitely fed on her blood or
I'm
whatever.
pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was like attached.
Hmm.
Ugh. Ugh.
That's why you gotta do
Well,
Terrible.
those checks.
Yeah,
sorry that happened.
I'll always do that from now on, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would. I feel like you like I guess you are kind of close to the forest, so
I guess so.
or are they just everywhere? Like literally never in my life have I ever seen one, and I feel like I've been in some pretty like natural habitats.
Right? Like I feel like when we were kids, we were running around in the forest like all the time. I've never
Mhm.
seen it tick on any of us.
Mhm. Yeah, but mosquitoes on the other hand, like,
Oh yeah, gotten destroyed. They love me.
you know,
But yeah,
I don't-
that was my life yesterday. I feel like I still have like flashbacks. I'm a little scarred, but I just gotta get used to it apparently.
no, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely want to like yeah, I hope it doesn't happen again, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about you, John? How are things going? Any fun updates from Dadland?
Uh, Mila was sick, so that was kind of. I mean, she still is kind of, but she's through the worst of it. So, just been dealing with runny noses pretty much
Mm.
all day last few days. But otherwise, no, things are good. I started my new job on Monday. Really isn't any different than my old job.
Well, it's for the same company, but like your new position.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, school's going good. So yeah, things are moving along. Moving right along.
That's
Did
good.
you ever talk about that mug that you got in the last episode?
No, I don't think I ever talked about it. This mug.
Oh,
This mug?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That
Do
freak
you?
in the sheets.
Yeah, for those wondering, I'm talking about my freak in the sheets mug. And it's basically
Okay.
a play on Excel because that's what I do for my job mostly is I'm in Excel a lot. So my team sent me a mug that says "Freak in the Sheets," which is pretty cool. It says that in green in the Excel green with the Excel logo on it. And it's basically has a picture of like exactly what an Excel homepage would look like. So yeah, it's
Ah,
it's it's
freak in the
amazing. One of
sheets.
my favorites for sure.
Yeah, that is a funny one.
What's your favorite tool or action in Excel?
Uh, my favorite tool, just pivot tables, I guess.
Pivot tables? Yeah,
Yeah, they're
that's
they're extremely useful.
Could you like describe what that is for anyone listening to this?
Yeah, it is a way to create a table out of large data sets without having, and then manipulating it within the table itself without having to manipulate the actual data. So like if I had like a large data set of like all the people in Minnesota and all the different states and like what color ice cream they like, just as an example, I could break down exactly, like probably within 30 seconds, how many people in each state, in a descending order, like chocolate ice cream ordered by state in descending order. Like I could do that without having to actually filter the data itself. So just a way of like manipulating it without having to risk actually touching the data. And they can also connect to like charts, so they can control a lot of other things if you build them in the right way. So yeah, it's very very useful.
Mhm. Sounds freaky
Yeah,
in
straight
the
freaky
AT.
in those sheety. Yeah, the sheeties. Freaky in the
Oh man. So
sheeties.
do you maybe this is like
That's crazy.
too lame for anyone listening to this, but do you ever run into like bad bad data like issues like where a whole like how do you guys get these data sets from? Do they just come from other tools or does it come from outside and then you have to like convert it and put it in yourself or what?
So no, mainly it comes from one of our own systems. So I mainly have been doing reporting and stuff on like the talent acquisition, so like the recruiting side, and every recruiting establishment, any group that has does recruiting, usually uses some type of applicant tracking system. So anytime you like apply for a job or anything, anytime you like put your name, your any of your preferences, email, all that shit goes into a database. And like
Hmm.
from that system, I'm pulling information about like the people who apply and how long it takes them to get through the process, how many of them we hire, things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, usually from systems like that, I don't have very large missing pieces, um, eh, unless the way that they're using the system is bad. So yeah, I actually am in that scenario right now, where like I can pull a lot of data, but a lot of it isn't super useful unless I have to like do heavy manipulation on it because of how they're using it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's it's pretty common, unfortunately.
At one point in the past, at one of my jobs, I had to do like work in Dynamics CRM, and I oftentimes had to clean data because it wasn't like like just wasn't all standardized or even
Because
like
that shit was filthy.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if you like don't like doing that or if you run into it at
Mm.
all. Because whenever I had to do it, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it was kind of like a fun puzzle to get to solve like over an afternoon and then to see the end result all flowing so nicely.
Yeah, yeah, that's the part I usually like about it. Not necessarily like the cleaning of it, but like using things that usually are just to most people numbers and like making it into something that we can get something like an insight from. That part I do like. I would say in my job, if data comes out of a system bad, poorly, it means that the people that you work with aren't doing their job appropriately. So like in your scenario where you're pulling it from a different system that you have no control over, it's just like you have to make the pieces work, right? In my line of work, I usually that means I have to have a larger conversation with somebody else about how someone's doing something. So it just it prompts things that aren't fun, unfortunately.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting. Might as well just get some AI in there and just
Yeah.
cut out the middleman.
Didn't you tell me at one point that you used to? I mean, I think that might have been you. That have you ever used Power BI?
Hmm.
Yeah, you were the person that told me that a while ago. But yeah,
Hmm.
apparently we're getting that for my new role. So that's gonna be interesting.
Is that
It's
AI?
fun.
No, Power BI. It's like Microsoft's data aggregation tool, data visualizer, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought it was fun as long as you like actually get the opportunity and time to work through a project correctly and not like, hey, I want this like dashboard that does all these crazy things and could you get it to me tomorrow? All right, cool.
Yeah,
And here's
yeah.
like a set of like 30 names like with maybe three addresses and yeah, I'd like to pinpoint exactly what customer we can upsell for this. And I'm like, what?
It's so
Like
funny
this?
because that sounds exactly like like something someone would say if they knew you were working with a tool like that. They just immediately assume like, yeah, you could just do all of this exactly in this way without sacrificing anything, like tomorrow, right? Like that makes perfect sense. And you're just like, you've taken all the joy out of this instantly.
Yeah, well, because like that executive was like sold on it at some seminar or business retreat or whatever the fuck. And
Yeah.
then like all they saw was like the end product of what it does and it's like, yeah, using this system and then they'll like do some crazy case study. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Target used this in their southern region and increased revenue by 500%. And you're like, wow. So if I put this chart in my business, then
Yeah.
I'll be successful too.
Yeah. Like all I'm gonna need is a few charts now, and we're off
Yeah.
to the races.
I mean, but it's fun. Like I think it's cool to like get the chance to learn new like tools and systems and stuff, but I kind of wish that they were kind of like I wish that it wasn't sold in such a like Jack and the Beanstalk kind of way.
No,
Like,
that makes sense. I think I am lucky in that regard because if anyone in my organization is already using that tool, it can't be many people, and none of them are using it the way that I'm probably going to be using it. Like they're going to just use it for different stuff. So everyone in my department, they're all just like the guy who the guy who offered me the job is the guy who emailed me and said, "Hey, we're gonna get this for you." It's just like you're on your own learning it. Like you just do. We just expect you to be able to do it. Like no one's checking up on me. No one has an idea of how they want to use it. They're just leaving that up to me mostly. So I think I will have more closely to what you're like describing it being in a fun way, like where I won't have someone just saying, "All right, this is exactly how I want it to look." I'm sure that will eventually come. Like that's just how it goes, unfortunately. But I'm at least gonna have a few weeks or months where I'm just gonna be in that learning stage and just playing around with it. So at least I'll have a little fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I know like everything leading up to this, like you're kind of bamboozled, but if
Yeah,
you can, if you can like get any positives out of it, that's good.
yeah, yeah. I didn't think we talked about that on the stream, thankfully. But yeah, that's yeah. I wasn't gonna take the job, but now I'm in it. So here we go.
We didn't talk about that on here. Are you
We
sure?
No,
definitely talked about that.
I'm
Yeah, we did.
I don't no, we talked about the possibilities like when that was happening. We didn't talk about like how at the end they were like, yeah, so your current role is just gone.
I thought we
Yeah.
did talk about that.
No, I remember because that night it was my night to do the host and I did not I opted not to. I specifically remember that.
I think like we must have ended it where Gouda
Yeah.
then just predicted that if you don't take it,
Yeah, yep,
because
we
I
did.
remember he did say
Yeah.
that before,
Yep.
like yeah.
If you don't take that,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
fire
over.
your ass.
Yeah, it's over. They're gonna find a way. Yeah.
Like
Good
that's
old
just incredible, man.
good old corporate America.
Yeah,
So
get
what
promoted or lose.
Or
like
lose. Yeah.
are you still like data analyzing? Like
Yeah.
what's the real difference between the
Yeah.
new job and the old one?
That they're calling me a data analyst mainly, and because I'm still keeping all the reporting things I was doing before, but now I'm gonna be working directly with the guy who offered me the job. So
So he's
he
just gonna give you like more shit to
yeah, I don't understand why we didn't align me just directly to him, but I'm reporting to like someone that's a couple steps underneath him basically. But yeah, he like I have a call with him and my boss on Friday to talk about what he thinks my goals should be in the role and what he wants me to work on. So like my manager isn't even the one setting the goals; it's him. So yeah,
That
do.
dude, I'm telling you, like I don't think any of that was the plan until they like saw you doing freaky stuff in the sheets. And
yeah,
then and
the
then he was
freak
like
sheets.
"Whoa, hold on. Like you guys don't even know how to use him. Let me just bring him over here
Yeah.
and we'll get some real work done."
Yep. Yeah, he told me pretty plainly that like the last person that was in my role, my previous role, like they like Excel wasn't their thing. Like they didn't they started it's funny, it's the same thing that happened to me basically happened to them. The role that I used to have started out as just straight up like coordinator role. Like it was that was the only thing it was supposed to be. You're supposed to like make phone calls, help with systems every now and again, and they tried to turn that role into reporting, and he didn't want to do that, so he left. And now basically the same thing. They just morph after they had me in this role. They're like, okay, we're gonna morph it even more to like analyst. And they're like, you don't want it? That's what's happening. Too bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I can't really be mad at them. Like I knew that was a possibility. Like when you said it, I remember us saying that's definitely a possibility, and it makes like from a financial immediate business sense, it does kind of make sense. But yeah, whatever it is, what it is. I'll learn a new tool out of it at least.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being freaky in the sheets, I had a
Mm.
question for you, Valero. Um,
Oh, that's quite the segue.
are are
Yeah,
you
what's about to
guys
happen?
yeah, are you guys watching, and when I say you guys, I mean you and your wife. Are you guys watching or have heard of the show Naked Attraction?
No, I have not
Really?
heard of it.
That sounds like some okay, I thought for sure that would be something you guys would watch.
It might
Maybe
be.
it's on HBO or Max now, I
Uh,
guess.
that would probably be why we haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's this, I guess, a game show. It's a dating show. It's like a dating game show, except the whole point is to just like look at people standing there naked, and then you like go in stages. It's like 4 stages or something, and then you choose to like get rid of someone like stage by stage, and it
God
starts from
damn.
like the feet up, and then at the end, like you choose who you want when it's like down to 2
It
people.
starts from the feet up. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then and then after you choose someone, you then have to get naked too, and then like come back on stage, like, and then like they can decide if they want to like say yes or no.
Yeah, I would completely watch that, like 100%.
Yeah, I'm shocked that you guys aren't watching. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. There.
All right, well now we have a new show. That's nice.
All right, well, have you watched Naked and Afraid?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen that. Like I don't like watch every episode, but like I've seen like a couple episodes of that. I feel like every politician should have to go on that or something like that. Like just to show that you're not like a phony. Like if you can handle one night in Naked and Afraid, I'll vote for you.
Wait, so I actually haven't seen the show, and
Naked
is
and
it just
Afraid?
is it
No, I
just
haven't seen that.
Survivor but naked?
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. They just like drop you off in the middle of the forest and it's like good luck and they just like leave. And then you're just like naked and afraid. Like that's legit what happened.
So where are they? Is it like in the rainforest or the desert or
It's just like
Antarctica?
anywhere. Like it could be any of those places. I think they've done like episodes in like pretty much every biome at this point. But they just make it like remote enough where you can't just like run to the nearest
There,
McDonald's and just be good.
there's no way they put someone in naked and afraid in the snow.
I think they have. Have they? I think they have, but he was probably like a super expert, like outdoors expert or something, and he wanted to be challenged or something. But I think they have done like ones where it's like,
He wanted to be castrated?
yeah, he wanted to freeze his dick literally off. But
Why do you have to be
yeah,
naked? I don't get it.
Because then you're really afraid.
yeah, like, oh, that's horrible. Like the bugs are gonna be like biting your your parts and shit. Like, oh, like a mosquito bite, like on your dick. Like, no.
Yeah, it just
I
So
seems unnecessary.
has anyone ever gotten a tick on that show?
Oh, for sure. They come back with like everything. They come back with like Lyme disease, like malaria, and there's like we did it. Haha. It's like haha.
And how do you win?
I don't know, by just like lasting for like a full like 24 hours or however long they set it out to be. They probably upped the time by now, I'm sure. But like in the beginning, it was just like 24 hours. Like you just have to be like, and they just like come get you again.
Weird. How?
Yeah, that is
And
weird.
And
sometimes like they'll leave you like a boy and a girl together too. So then you'll have to like huddle for warmth. But it's not sexy because you both are like as miserable as you can ever get, and like also like completely like being like destroyed and eaten by like all the insects all around. So like, yeah, it's just weird. Like it's yeah, yep.
if if the people making that show like sold one copy to whatever whatever channel is like publishing it, where like what channel is that on?
I don't even know. Like it's not CBS, like TBS or something like that. I don't even know. TLC.
That just sounds like Alone, but way shorter and naked for no reason.
Is Alone where they just drop
Mm,
you off in the middle of nowhere?
yeah, but it's not for 24 hours. They drop you and 10 other people off in an area that like usually progressively gets colder, but you don't know. Basically, you're trying to be the last one out there out of the 10 people, and you don't know when anyone else quits. So all they do is they just keep coming back and doing medical checks on you, but otherwise you're just by yourself out there, and you don't know how long you'll be there. So like I think the longest I saw someone go out was like It had to be 70 or 80 days. So like they have to build their own shelter, they have to like get all their own food, all that shit.
That's insane.
You know.
Do
Yeah.
they like win money at least? I'm guessing
Yeah,
so.
like 500,000 I think is the winner gets.
Okay, yeah,
But
that's
you have to
pretty decent.
basically be like a survivalist. Like you have to know a certain amount before they even let you come on that show to audition. And then when you get there, they like screen you again. So like I think they bring more people than they need and then screen out more at the like facility that they do the testing at.
Jeez, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and basically the
Yeah,
whole show is just the people recording themselves and like talking about where they're struggling or what's going on with them.
interesting. Yeah, that's like how Naked and Afraid is. Like it's just the dude and a camera, and he just has to be like he just has to point it at himself as much as possible.
Because he's naked or just because he's on the show?
Just because he's on the show. Just because he's naked, he's like, check out my dick.
I just don't even
Jesus
understand. I'm
Christ.
guessing it's like censored, right?
Yeah, like it's like blurred out, or like they have like the black blocks like over their parts or whatever.
So
But
what is
yeah,
the so what's the gimmick for? Because like you're not necessarily getting embarrassed. Is it just to make you as like vulnerable as possible?
I think so, I guess. Yeah, it's like just to make survival as hard as possible. So you'll tap
No.
out and be like, ha, bitch.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like wouldn't you be kind of like at an advantage if you were in the desert? Or I guess you would be
Yeah,
too exposed. Like all those UV rays would hit you everywhere.
God. I wouldn't even I would never do that. Like I can't think of any biome where I would be okay with that.
What about
Like
a pasture?
Milwaukee in like in late June.
Like you would be okay with that?
Yeah, I would be okay if someone dropped me off at the edge of Waukesha County on June 24th.
Yeah, you'd totally be okay.
Yeah.
Like you actually, yeah, you wouldn't even need to like find a house. You could be homeless and be
Yeah,
totally healthy and survive.
I'd be completely fine. Yeah, actually, if we're just doing that, then yeah, just drop me off like I don't know where, like Vancouver in like spring or fall or something like that. Then yeah, you'll be like just fine, I think. I don't know what kind of animals they have over there. No, okay, we're gonna stick with Milwaukee. Like we don't have shit here except for chicks, obviously, but like I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I've seen like a few coyotes a few times and like a fox once or twice, but and deer, but they're not gonna like attack you, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Have you ever run into either of you run into a wild animal that was ready to like go?
Ran into one
Y-
No,
Yeah,
or like encountered one?
yeah.
no.
No. I had a deer get really close to me, like on our street in Brown Deer, but once it saw me, it ran away after that.
What about you, Valero?
No, not at all. Yeah, all animals I've ever seen have always run away. But I'm usually like in a car. I feel like whenever I see like the craziest wild animals, so they're not gonna fuck with this.
What's like the biggest thing that you've actually seen?
I'm like 99% sure I've seen a bear when I was driving up north.
In the
Like,
wild?
Yeah, it's like in the woods.
No, I'm saying you're asking about like the biggest thing I've seen in the wild.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah, not at that
not at the
not
zoo.
that zoo. That's like behind chicken wire.
Yeah, I'd probably say a yeah deer maybe.
But nothing that made either of you feel like you were in danger.
Jesus Christ.
No, no.
Yeah, guess how many black bears are in the state of Wisconsin?
Mm, 10,000?
That's actually not too bad. You
Are
want
you
to
gonna
take
guess,
Oh,
a
John?
swing at it?
oh,
Yeah.
fuck. 17,000.
Wow, that's even closer. It was 24,000. Why? Like, why would you think?
Oh,
Like, I guess I'm surprised you guys got so close. Like, I was gonna guess like 1,000 maybe. Like,
Yeah.
when do you ever see bears? Like, literally never. Like,
Your state is way bigger than what you see though. Like the amount of space in your state that's just literally just wild land. There's just no one living there. That's where the
yeah.
bears are.
One of my hobbies is Google Maps, so yeah, there's a ton of green space on in
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, dude, there's
yeah,
so
there
much
is.
land.
Hmm.
God, all right. Well, I guess that's where all the bears are.
Yeah, they're
I'm just
chilling
like,
right
yeah,
there.
bears. Like, there's definitely no bears here, but there's a lot. There's like no brown
You looked
bears. Like,
around your
that
city and you
doesn't
were
exist
like,
here.
I don't even see any bears. Must not exist.
I've never heard of a bear. Like, I've seen cougars. Like, I've
Here in
seen.
Milwaukee,
Yeah, remember that just a couple years ago in like 2018, the
when they said
Milwaukee
it was a
Lion.
lion, yeah, I remember
It
that.
was. It was a mountain lion, but still, it was a lot. It wasn't an actual lion. But that thing was big though. Like that thing will fuck up any of your pets. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my mom's in Illinois and like somewhat close to Chicago, or at least the airport, and they had in their subdivision they had wolves at one point.
What? Are
Yeah,
you serious?
yeah,
How? That's
because
crazy.
there's lots of fucking open space out there. Still.
They had wolves in Illinois. I'm actually
Yeah,
super surprised.
for
Even in
sure.
Wisconsin, I think there's only like, because as soon as I saw the bear thing, I was like, well, how many wolves are there? And there's like, oh, there's only like,
It
there's
was
less
it
than a
was
thousand.
either
I
and
was
then
like, oh, well,
someone
that's
someone
surprising.
told me that they saw a coyote. Like I feel like here I've heard several times that there's been coyotes.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of coyotes here.
Mhm.
I've even heard coyotes like from my house, like
Maybe
How
that's what
can you
my
howling.
tell?
maybe that's what my mom had. Maybe it wasn't a wolf.
That would be like, yeah. Let me look.
Wolf
Do any
sounds extreme.
wolves?
But I definitely think there's some wolves in Illinois. Wolves in Illinois. Oh, only 300. So no, there's no way she came across one of the 300 wolves.
It says
They know.
now there's only 11.
Well, in Wisconsin?
No, in Illinois.
11 as of
Oh, holy
now.
shit! So they know
There's
each
no
one
way.
by name. They're gone.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Have you? I
like
see foxes a lot too. At least here.
yeah, I've seen
Mhm.
some foxes here too.
Yeah, there's all types of wildlife, man. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a coyote. There was no way it was a wolf.
Yeah,
That's
the only thing you'll you'll run into in the forest in southeast Wisconsin that would kill you is like yeah, like nothing. Like
no.
the cold. Like
Yeah. The biggest
but
predatory
unless
thing?
you get a black bear apparently
Yeah, that would kill. Oh,
or
okay.
a mountain lion if it's big enough, I guess.
No, the brown bear. That's the one. That's the one you don't fuck with.
Yeah, apparently those only live on the West Coast, like states. Like they literally do not exist anywhere else in like the world.
Brown bears?
Yeah.
I'm
As after I looked up the wolf thing,
I'm
then I looked up the brown
I'm
bear
I'm
thing and I
fairly
found that out.
certain that one at the zoo is living just fine.
Well, okay, like I'm sure they were probably talking about the ones in the wild.
Uh, yeah, no, that might be right. I don't know. I've never
But
even
black
thought
bears
about it.
are there's a fucking thousands of them. Like that's just crazy to me. Like I've never like I saw a bear, I'm pretty sure in the distance like through like a thick forest on the side of the highway. Like honestly like maybe it was a bush. Like it could have been, but like I'm like pretty sure that was a bear standing there. And like I don't know, like yeah, and I was driving, someone else was driving, it was like going super fast. I only got to see it for like 10 seconds before it was out of like range.
Dang.
So it's just like hardly believable to me that there's like 25,000 bears in the state. Like I feel like I've driven all over, except for honestly the parts where there's like nothing. Like there's just nothing but forest. That's like the only parts that I haven't really touched.
That's
But like
most
that makes sense.
that's most of your state.
No, it's just like the top half of it.
Nah, most of your state definitely doesn't have roads.
I would say it's
Like
like half.
think about all the space in between the roads and the highways that do exist. Like I'm not even talking about like no road exists there. I'm talking about even places where a road goes past and there's just trees on the opposite sides. There's bears in there.
Like right next to the roads. I mean, I guess so.
Yeah,
If I saw a bear,
yeah, for sure. There's definitely bears in there. If you go deep enough, you'll find it, or it'll find you, and then you'll
actually,
be dead.
it looks like if you scroll out on Google Maps, like you can kind of see the urban sprawl like from like super far away. Like you can literally see like the layout of cities. And in Wisconsin, like pretty much, I would say like two-thirds of it are taken up by urban sprawl. Maybe not urban, but they're probably like farmland. But like still, like that's civilization. Like wild forest doesn't look like that. And
Yeah,
same with
but even next to those the farmland, there's still like wild land in between those people. I don't think all of that is owned.
how are you gonna like be a bear and live like in a farm suburb?
They're doing
What?
it. I've seen
You know
like
why?
quite a
Why?
few videos recently of bears like breaking into restaurants and like homes and
Holy
stealing
shit.
like people food and then like just
Hmm.
leaving.
Hmm.
Well, like I always assume like those are like some towns like surrounded by some sort of forest or something. I was that's what I assumed. But
Like
like
in
it's hard to
Aspen or
imagine
something.
like I don't know, like what I assume Lancaster, Wisconsin to have like bears or some shit. Actually, you know what? Looking at Lancaster at this map, there actually might be. There's a lot of hills over there. But like what about like Whitewater? Like that's like a nice like rural area. Like that's how I imagine most of Wisconsin. Like something like along the lines of like yeah, like
There's
Whitewater or like
definitely enough land in between, like from Whitewater. If you just think about the journey from Whitewater to Milwaukee, there's definitely enough land in just that sprawl for like at least a few hundred bears.
you think a few hundred bears could live?
Yeah.
I feel like that would surprise me.
In that hour stretch, yeah, I believe it. Because that would have to be the average. Just like think about how much land there
It's
is in
like
Wisconsin.
it's all habited like human land. Like every
It's
inch of that land is
it's
farmed. Like there is
no,
none of
not
it
every inch
that
of that
like
is not every inch of that is farmed.
I don't remember much that wasn't. Like every inch
Well,
that didn't
everything you
have like
see.
water or swamp around it
Well, yeah, but everything you see next
has
to the
farmland
road,
on it.
though, is gonna be where the farms are because the people who live at the farms are gonna need outlets to the road. So like anything past that though, you're not gonna be able to see. So like,
But the farms go as far as the eye can see.
yeah, but the land can go further than your eye can see. So I don't like there's just because you can't see it doesn't mean there's no land back there.
I mean, there's parts where you can see pretty far, and like I remember it just being nothing but farmland as far as like even when you get to the top part of the hills and you can like, oh hey, I can see like a mile or two. It's just like, oh, it's
Okay.
literally just
There must
nothing
exist
but
some
farmland.
land behind there then if there's 25,000 bears in your state and you haven't seen them. They must be living somewhere.
Well, I don't think they're living between Whitewater and Milwaukee.
Okay.
They're definitely living in the parts like up north where there's no urban sprawl. Like when you're looking at the map, you can literally see all the farmland just stop and then it's just green. Like there's no like grid pattern, no nothing. It's just like green. So that's I mean there's enough area up there for like okay, I'm sure there's 25,000 bears.
Yeah,
Probably like
that's my only point. If there's that many, then
Bear
like
Haven up
the
there.
average like per Whitewater Drive has to be maybe not hundreds, but maybe at least 50 to 100. Like it has to have the capacity for that. I'm not saying that there's that many in
Like that
there,
sounds
but on average it has to be. Like that's just the number of it, right? Like it couldn't
I
be
just
less than that.
assume that like all the bears must be in like literally one like concentrated area or something.
Yeah,
Like and
that's
there just must
and
be
that
no bears in
yeah, and
southeast
that
Wisconsin.
necessarily can't be true because that that place would not
That
last
could
long
be.
if no if a whole group of if hundreds of bears lived in one area, no that area would be fucked.
Maybe they've learned to cooperate because there's no other option. Just like
No.
how the whales are like teaming up on boats and shit now.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. that's that's pretty wild, but all right.
Where do the bears live in Wisconsin?
What do they even eat though?
Okay, it
Aren't
says like,
don't bears eat fish and like berries and shit?
We got that in Wisconsin?
oh, okay,
Probably,
here's a
yeah.
map. And it literally says in
Probably.
the south part of the state there are no bears present.
Well, that's good for you then. You don't have to worry anymore. Now you know
So
for
I
sure.
was
Now we know.
right.
Now we know for sure. No
Bears can't
bears.
survive on purely 100% settled land. Like they need some wild. And
Yeah,
yeah,
look at that.
the drive from Milwaukee to Whitewater, I don't remember seeing much forest.
I
Like
guess I don't know on this map where where Whitewater would be.
You would be driving into it wouldn't be like common, but there is a chance, just like John said, there is a
I think
slight chance that you could like run into one.
yeah, there's like an ever so slight chance if one got super desperate and made its way all the way over there, which is
Almost
possible. It says that
literally,
area is transient, so bears don't live there, but they could be passing through or something.
yeah. Pretty much as soon as you get out of Milwaukee County, then you have a chance to see a bear.
Yeah, there's a chance. It's small. It's less than rare, it says. Rare is another level above that chance. And then after rare is common, and then abundant. So yeah, the top half of the state is common and abundant. So like I guess yeah, that's the part that I spend the least amount of time in.
Oh fuck. Where is Whitewater? Oh,
But
there we
I've
go.
been up there and I guess like yeah, there's a hell of a lot more forest.
Yeah, the chances by me have to be way higher. I guess I just assume now, especially where I live now, that. But yeah, it seems like you're right. If they just don't live there, or they're like you said, they could be passing through. But yeah, it would not surprise me to see a bear, like especially on any long, winding road drive. Like yeah, th-
Hmm.
that would not be
Yeah, I feel like
surprising at all.
by you there would probably be bears because you
Even
live
even in
like
Wisconsin, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. I mean, it would be rare, but I'd be like, there's still so much of Wisconsin that's just unbridled. So yeah, that number doesn't necessarily surprise me. It seems like a lot, like if you have all in one place, but spread out over the whole state, like there's a lot of land.
oh wait, here's a bear map for Minnesota.
The
Do you
Minnesota
This is
Bears.
do you
hilarious.
have a plan if you
Yeah, I
don't
was
think
just
it's
about to ask that.
necessarily rare to run into one?
Um,
Like, yeah, what if a bear just like hopped over the fence while the dogs and stuff were outside?
well, they'd be dead.
That's just it. You just be like, all right, I'm gonna close the door and just turn on some
Yeah,
music
I'm
and
not. If they're close enough for me to call them in, then sure. But yeah, if they're closer to the bear than they are to me, there's nothing I can do for them.
you
Getting
wouldn't
my
try to scare the bear away or anything. Would you
no that
throw something at it at least?
no that's dumb. That
Damn,
if
that's
it's a black if
brutal.
it was a brown bear, definitely not. But I don't think there's any bears here. So like you said, so if it was I guess if it was a black bear, there's a chance. But black bears don't. I don't think black bears usually behave that way. They just run in. The only bear I could see walking in to anything would be the bear that you don't fuck with. If a bear's doing that, then either something's
Jesus
terribly
Christ.
wrong with it, or it's a brown bear, in which case, like one swipe and you're dead. So there's nothing you can do. But yeah, if
Oh
like in the
man.
wild, you mean? No, I don't have. I would say yeah. Your plan if you see like a brown or not brown bear, a black bear in the wild, like on a hike or something, is to just like be big, like don't back down or anything, and like make noise to let it know that you're there. Like the whole point usually is to like make sure they know you're there so that you don't startle them.
Okay.
Taking up space. That's why they give people like bear horns on that alone show to like make enough noise for them to just run away.
Jesus Christ.
Is that
That's
show shot
crazy.
in your state?
No, no, it's shot usually in like parts of Canada.
If you look at a map of Minnesota, do you know where you live on that map?
Probably like in the middle. Hold on.
Like you see this map that I posted? Are you in the bear
I'm
range?
I gotta look. Hold on. I gotta zoom
No
out.
way. No, you're in the gray.
I
Let
feel
me
like you
see. Let me
might be
see
in
what
the
you
bear
Let
range.
me see what you posted. Yeah, I'm in the bear range. Yeah.
Damn. So you're in the bear range. So yeah, you're in like Bear County. I remember reading once like about like when they were first colonizing America, like the first like couple of people who were here said that this land was basically run by bears. Like like as they were traveling across like the United States, it was probably like Lewis and Clark or something like that. He said like by far like the bears like ran like the forest. Like they yeah, they were the I was like, holy shit, that's
Uh,
crazy. This place
yeah,
was ran by
I
bears.
posted where exactly I am on that on the map, so you can get an idea. I'm right at the edge of the green, basically. Is what I would.
So you're in between the primary bear range and the secondary bear
Yeah,
range.
I'm in the edge of the primary bear range, right in the middle.
Wow. So yeah, so you're in like that's where bears live. You're in the primary bear country.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Do you have anything? So like legit, if one hopped over your fence, like you're just gonna close the door and whoever's outside is dead?
I mean, if it was a person, if it was my wife or child, yeah, I would try to save them, and if I had to, I'd fight them off. But I'm not doing that for one of the dogs. No.
Or the cat. And do you ever
No.
let the cat outside?
Yeah, she goes outside.
But if they get caught
But
with a bear out,
it
they're
just
done.
doesn't. It wouldn't like. Yeah, we have a. The other thing about like our yard is we have a 6 foot fence around it. So there's just like the
Oh,
what you're
okay, well, that's
describing.
good.
Like the likelihood of them coming to us first would be crazy. Plus, our dogs, if they
Yeah.
heard anything, they would be yapping and they would probably scare the bear away. So we're probably the last house that a bear would just hop over the fence.
What if they attract the bear? What if this bear's like, little bitch, you want to go? Like, I'm a
That's
bear.
well, I've already told you what will happen in that scenario.
You're like, all right, I'll just close the door, let whatever happen happen, and I'll just come out with a broom and dustpan afterwards. Maybe a mop
Yeah,
and a
my
bucket or something.
absolutely my first inclination is I have to make sure the people in my household, like my human family, is safe. Yeah.
Damn, can't you like open up your window and like throw a rock at it? Something like,
Maybe, but that would not be the first thing that I would do. So yeah, I mean, the first thing I do is I take a fucking head count and make sure we're all here first, and then yeah, we can brainstorm how we can safely help the dogs at that point. But honestly, if
as they're getting torn apart.
no, if two of our dogs are outside at the same time, there's a good chance they could fight them off. I mean, they would be hurt afterwards. But if it was a small enough, medium-sized, small bear, they could. I think they could hold their own for a long enough,
That's crazy. Long enough for what?
either to scare it off or for one of us to scare it off.
Okay. Maybe you can like go in the kitchen and grab like a whole thing of cayenne pepper and just like open it up and just
Ooh,
throw it out the window or something at it.
Maybe.
that would
Uh,
work. That's a good idea.
oh,
That might work.
maybe,
What about just
maybe.
straight up flour?
Just flour, yeah,
They'd
just
be like,
throw an
"Arr,
entire
arr."
sack of flour. Just take like put it in a sack like a sack is like boom. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny.
Do you guys think when a bear sees like a dog or something, obviously it doesn't say, hey, that's a dog, because it doesn't know the word dog. What do you think it's actually thinking?
Hey, that's a whatever mental word they would use for it. I think it thinks the same types of things, just in a different way. Like it
So
wouldn't.
you guys think that all animals also have names for other animals?
Um,
Probably.
maybe not names, but maybe like personas. I think they understand like what that thing is.
Yeah, especially bears. Bears are supposedly like super smart.
Don't we say that about every animal, honestly?
I mean, there's a lot of smart ones, but like bears are definitely one of them. They said the country was run by bears. Like we took the country from Indians or Native Americans, and Native Americans were already fighting over the country with bears.
Like they would send diplomats and they would sit down.
Yeah,
Talk things
that's why
over.
their whole like culture was based off of like unity with nature because they didn't want to piss it off too much because the bears would just come in and fuck them up.
Like that's why they named him George Science Treaty with Bears.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Science Street, George. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm ever hearing about the bear overlords.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was from like Lewis and Clark or something. They said that was like by far their biggest like nemesis crossing the entire like country. It's because there'd always be a bear trying to like fuck them up at every turn.
Weird. So then, do you think that a bear, when it sees one of us, is like, do we even register as a fellow? Do you think we are animals to them or are we aliens?
I feel like basically animals. I don't know, maybe aliens actually. Maybe closer to aliens because aliens have like higher tech and like you don't know what they're up to, and animals like you kind of know what they're about. So yeah, we'd be like more like aliens. Like they know we exist and we're around, but they don't know what the fuck we're up to. And yeah.
Hmm. So how come some, okay, I guess some animals are just naturally more curious and willing to approach an alien, but it seems like none of us would be willing to do that if
I
if
feel
we
like if
actually saw
aliens
an
just
alien.
lived on the planet, people would start to do it. Like if all we had to do was just like travel to like northern Wisconsin and there'd be like just an alien settlement, like
I don't think
yeah, people would eventually start walking up to it.
I don't think bears look at us as aliens. I think probably closer to animals.
I feel
Really?
like if a bear sees you in the forest with nothing, then like yeah, it probably sees you as an animal. But I think like yeah, I think bears like understand civilization, and then that is like not like their domain, so they obviously avoid it, which is why that little part
So,
of Wisconsin is not present, and the rest is transient territory.
what if a bear sees you like get out of a car, like a moving vehicle?
Hmm.
So you guys are saying
Uh,
that bears can understand that, okay, that car is not a living thing. It is just a vehicle that animal is
I mean,
inside.
I don't I don't think they
yeah,
necessarily understand it at the level you're talking about. Like that's not living. I think their like basic biological instinct probably tells them in some respects what's living and what's not. Like the things that they can detect, like apparent, like the way sharks can detect blood in water from like a very far distance away. Like I think it just doesn't show up on their radar the same way it does ours. And the only reason it shows up on our radar at all is because we've dominated the places that we live. So we have the luxury of just looking around and wondering and pondering what things are. Like I don't think bears just sit around and they're like, I wonder today. Like I think their lives are a little more simple than that. Like I think it's about eating, like protecting territory. Like it's about more primal things than those things. Now that's not to say that they couldn't possibly ponder that, but I don't think that's like what they think when they see us in a car. I think they just think, oh, I know that's an animal because I can smell it.
yeah,
Smell
I've
it
You can
seen
on
smell
me.
a
bears
car.
like open car doors and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. If they've seen it enough, I'm sure they could probably figure it out. But I don't think they think to themselves, "Oh, this is a car door."
It's like
But
about to open this bitch up.
Yeah.
but like, what about a tree? Like it's alive, but it's not doing anything. It's just there.
Uh-huh.
I feel like honestly, it almost like is a technological discovery to understand that plants are alive. Like otherwise, you just don't even consider it. Like before they invented agriculture, like they just were like, I don't know, plants are just around, I guess. Like maybe they're alive in some spirit of God or whatever, but like each plant itself, like did anyone really understand that it was like a living thing that like planted from a
I
seed? Like
I
they would
mean,
just like go around like pick shit from bushes and be like, all right, I'm glad this plant was already here when I got here.
I think even without agriculture, like the all of the understandings of that. I think you could watch if especially if you're like in a certain area, like a territory for a certain amount of time. If you watch the same plants for enough time, I think you could probably understand that they're living if you see that they like change. I think that's part of like the distinction that we make with life is that it can change over time.
Yeah, but would you consider that thing to be living? I
I
guess,
I
yeah, there's
would
just, would you understand that
in
there's
a
like different scales of living at that point?
I
I
would if
guess.
that was my existence most days. Like in a world like today where you could see something rust, that's not the same thing as necessarily living, even though it changed. But if in a world where that's just not even in existence, where if your land is just other things that move around, that some have two legs, some have four, and then there's all these other things that seem set it like they don't move at all coming out of the ground, but they do change. Yeah, I would think that that person would understand it might be a different kind of life, but still life, even without understanding like exactly where it came from.
That's weird. So if your house is built of wood, like you're like, man, my
It'll seem
house
like
is
you're
built of other living things or now dead
well,
things.
well,
I mean, it's
well,
true.
well, yeah, but that is true. But like, obviously, I don't think you could compare it to a house because like the moment you start talking about houses, that means you have an understanding of like someone building something, and that's before the time I think we were talking about. Like, if you were just on the planet where it was just like just animals and the shit that you fashioned out of trees, I think you would still say to yourself, yeah, this tree is probably alive in some
Yeah, because once it's in your house, it would be dead.
way.
You're like, man, this tree just doesn't grow leaves anymore. Ever since I laid it on top of my roof.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you'd
guess
have to
so.
have yeah, you'd have to understand that. Yeah, if you cut it
But
down, yeah, good point. Yeah.
but a bear doesn't live long enough to know that, right?
Yeah, a bear's not making
It
any
can't
shelter.
watch.
If you
Yeah,
if you
it
live
does make shelter, but
if you live long enough to see seasons, you see that things are I would say that you have a concept of things like outside plant life being alive. So yeah, I would think so. I don't think you have to see a
so
whole
you
tree
think that
grow.
so you think that they are categorizing things,
Um yes, I think that bears can be able to categorize things. Yes.
but not discern if it's like alive or dead.
No, I
Or
think
do you
they
said yes, you think they can.
No, they can. I think they can definitely tell if something's alive or dead. Yeah, not everything, but the things that that they regularly come into contact with. Like I think that they know like if berries are rotten. I think they know if like they see an animal on the ground bleeding and like it's not moving and that it's probably dead. Like yeah, I think they understand those things. I don't think they can walk up to a house and be like, "Huh, this house was built and this isn't not an alive thing." Like no, not like that.
But they do that. Like they just walk up to a house and they don't think, "Oh, look at this big animal that might hurt me." They're like, "Oh, look at this not alive structure. I can just walk in." Like
Y-
how
Yeah,
how
if you see something not moving enough, I think there's part of that assumption, especially even for a bear, has to be that even if it might be alive, that it might not be of direct harm to me. Like I can walk past a tree and not think just because it's big that it's gonna be harmful to me. It's just a large thing. That doesn't mean it's not alive, but it's large and it doesn't move. So like, yeah, I don't know that a bear would be like, yeah, this house, like you said, but I think at some level they understand that the house is not a threat because it seems to move even less than the things that it knows are living and don't move. Like it doesn't even move as much as a tree.
so if you want to kill a bear, all you have to do is hollow out a tree and then like stand in there with a gun.
With a gun. I mean, you could just skip
That
that whole part and just be with a gun.
Yeah,
yeah.
but then
Why
there's
would
a
you
chance
trap?
it could like
Why would
it
you
could
trap
actually
yourself
like
in the tree?
engage you
Why would you
because
trap
it
yourself
doesn't
in a tree?
see the tree as alive. Well, it doesn't see it as an
Honestly,
alive threat.
yeah,
It
if
would
you like,
definitely smell you before you ever got a shot off. You'd be fucked.
if you can like figure out how to like run out of sight real quick and then jump in the tree, you probably could like lose it.
Jump in a tree, like
Yeah.
on top of a tree, like on a branch.
like how he said, like somehow hollowed it out where you were just like inside of a tree. I don't know how you would
No.
manage that, but
How? Wait. So the wait. So the the
but like that
tree.
would fool a human. Like,
No, how? No, I would definitely not fool a bear. If the tree, first of all, they can smell you way better than a human can smell you. And if they really wanted you, if you got into a hollow tree, you think the bear can't get into the hollow tree? There, you'd be
well, like
fucked.
yeah, if it knows you're there, then yeah, you're fucked. But if it like
It
No,
would
didn't
I
see you go
definitely
there,
it would
it
definitely
could
no,
walk
smell
like
right
you.
past you. You've
No,
like
never
I
played
planned it
hide and
at I
seek with your
planned it ahead of
dogs and
time.
actually been able to successfully hide from them?
no, no. Not, my dogs
You've
can
never
smell me.
done that?
No, my dogs can smell me. No, they know where I am.
I've done that with a dog before. It was a German Shepherd, and they can smell super good. It's like literally a police dog.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like,
it was that dog like in the city? Does it normally like is it normally out in the woods and using its nose in that way?
I mean, like you would use your nose whether you're in the city or in the woods.
It's not the same thing. Like there's a reason why like certain breeds go out for hunting. Like they literally practice that. Like yeah, it's yeah. If you don't, if I'm not saying no dog, like every dog doesn't use their nose. For sure they do, but there's like I think a German Shepherd who is training to do that, yeah, I think that's a little different. If they're out in the woods a lot, I think they discern smells a little bit different than someone who
You can
in the
definitely
city.
hide from dogs. I'm pretty sure there's
I'm
like
not.
Holocaust stories of like
I'm not
survivors like
saying.
hiding under mud as like dogs walked over them and
Oh,
stuff.
I'm not saying you can't hide from a dog. I'm just saying that that has not been the case with my dogs.
Well, you can definitely do it, and it does happen. It's like not common, but you it can definitely be done. Like
I
I don't. I'm assuming
okay,
dogs
but
have better noses than bears, or at least
no, no,
comparable.
no, they absolutely do not. Bears have. I think bears have way better. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain bears have better noses
I was
than
gonna be
dogs.
like, well, then why don't they use bears to sniff out drugs? And I was like, okay, well, obviously, like
What?
that wouldn't go well.
Didn't they
Oh,
make a movie about that, Cocaine Bear?
Yeah.
uh, that's funny. So a grizzly bear's nose. So this is not obviously this won't go for a brown bear. So I'd have to look that up. But this says a grizzly bear's nose packs at least 7 times more sniffing power than a bloodhound.
Yeah, that's what I just
Like
looked up too. So bears can
that's
sneak
insane. Yeah,
better than
they
dogs.
yeah much better. Yeah, they would find you for sure.
Oh, that's
You're
horrifying.
not you're not hiding in a hollowed out tree. You can't even climb the tree because bears can climb trees. They can swim. You're fucked. If the bear wants you, you are fucked. Your only chance is to kill it before it gets to you.
Jesus Christ, 7 times better than a dog, than a
Yeah,
bloodhound,
especially a
even.
grizzly bear. With a brown bear, you've got a chance. A grizzly bear, either you need to have been already running away, or you need to make peace with the fact that today you or a grizzly bear is gonna die.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, if I lived in bear country, literally where you live, there's no way I wouldn't have like a
Well,
shotgun,
these
basically.
we don't have grizzly bears here.
But you have black bears.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as scared of those.
That's still enough.
Nah, man, they can be
I
put
would have
down.
a bow and arrow or a spear, something.
Well, I don't fear them like walking into town. Like that's just not very common. Plus, everyone here, most people here probably have a gun or some type of weapon here, so it would be a pretty quick bear sighting if someone. I feel like if someone like caught a bear or if someone a bear attacked someone, it would not. I don't think that would last for very long. Like that bear would be put down. But there has been times where like
Unless it attacked
people
you.
it would have to get into my house to attack me, and that I mean that would be that would be pretty wild. I'm not just hanging out on the streets of Little Falls like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Little Falls.
yeah. Land of the brown bear. I mean, at least there are some brown bears. But yeah, grizzly bears, you don't fuck with those things. Holy shit.
Is that a brown bear?
Yeah,
Yeah. But they
it,
don't live
they don't
anywhere
live
near
anywhere
this
near
part of the
me.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so all grizzlies are brown bears, but not all brown bears are grizzlies.
I thought they're the
I think
same
so.
thing.
I think that is true.
Oh, okay.
I am not 100% sure of that, but that sounds right.
Do you guys think
It says grizzly
survival?
bears and brown bears are the same thing.
Well,
Oh,
Oh,
a grizzly
it
bear would
says
have to
but
be a brown
grizzly
bear.
bears are currently considered to be a subspecies.
Yeah, because I mean they're brown. They're just one of the one of the brown ones.
And then there's also Kodiak bears, which is another
Oh,
subspecies. But they're all
oh.
the same species. So like grizzlies and brown bears can have babies together, which would just still make a whatever the fuck bear.
Man, yeah.
Crazy.
Look at oh my God, this. Huh, yeah, yep. I'm gonna just put this in the
Seven
chat.
times 7 times stronger smell than a bloodhound.
Oh,
And a bloodhound
I never actually
has
put this in the
300
chat.
times stronger smell than a human, apparently.
I never put this in the chat. That's where I am in Little Falls. I thought I already posted it, but I never pressed
Oh
enter.
yeah, I was wondering. It's like this picture shows. It's like I see no picture.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so it's like right on the edge,
Yeah.
basically.
And look at the size of this. Oh, you can't even see it unless you open it in the browser. But oh, you can't even see it then. God, this is the worst picture actually. Anyway,
yeah. What the
it
Is
looks
that a
like
brown bear and a wolf?
yeah, but the brown bear obviously is way behind the wolf. Like if
It's a
that's
monster.
like that thing is monstrous. Like that's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get out of there.
Yeah, you need to leave. It's already too late. Yeah, the I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie with what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's like in some olden times. Like there's a scene in that where he fights a bear,
Oh
and
yeah.
and I think it's a grizzly bear. It is a some type of brown bear. I would say that is as close to understanding what it would have been like to witness a bear attack that any of us can ever get to without actually being mauled to death. Like the way that that was produced, like that's how terrible I would imagine it, especially
That's
in that
crazy.
in olden times. Like he was,
Did he survive somehow?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he did.
And then he got an
Wow.
Oscar.
Yeah,
For the
yeah,
bear attack
yeah, yep,
movie?
Yeah.
He finally that's what he finally got the Oscar for?
yeah. He was, I mean, he was
Yeah.
good in it, but yeah,
Wow.
it was just a very jarring scene. Never
Do you
felt
guys
further from
think?
civilization.
Do you guys think that survival should be a Olympic sport?
Uh, like where you can tap out, or like, or
Hmm.
just
I feel
like
like
if you lose, you
there's
die.
probably too many people who would just never tap out for like eternity.
No,
Nah,
it's like
no, they
a. Let's
would.
say it's like it lasts for as long as the games. Like it's a 4 week competition, and it's like a not Hunger Games, but Hunger Games basically.
Like how do you knock
And
people out or be better than someone else?
you either you either forfeit, like you can't keep going, like there's some kind of health tracker on you that shows that you are healthy enough to keep going, and if it drops below that, then they just take you out. Or you can choose to forfeit yourself, and then the way you win is by how well you, like, I don't know, build shit, how well that you Minecraft.
Yeah,
Or if
I
you
could
have
see
like a
that.
sweet enough house at the end of it, then you
Yeah,
win.
That's
yeah, and
kind
they
of like. Go
weigh
ahead, sorry.
like your food and stuff like that
Oh,
if you
e-
collect food.
yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
I'd be like, these cinder blocks are my food. I win.
I mean,
Whatever.
that's basically what alone is. That you just don't win for like how well you build shelter. Like, but yeah, people would definitely quit because even some of the people who are like the best survivalists in that show who trained for it, like, and some of those people have gone large stints already, like without family. You would be surprised how often the lack of human interaction completely devastates people's minds. Like to the point where they make really stupid or silly mistakes, or they literally just miss their families so much that they just give up. So I think it would be unless you're just used to isolation already. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a sport because people's minds they're too weak.
Hmm. So it wouldn't even be so it wouldn't even be the like feeding yourself or making a
Mm.
shelter. It's just like Not being able to talk to someone.
Sometimes, yeah. I've seen people on there that have had completely set up bases. Like this guy had made a whole like fountain for himself out of the wood pieces. Like he had basically fashioned out of wood everything he could have ever wanted. Like a shower, like a faucet. He had had plenty of food stored away, and he was just like, "Yeah, I miss my family. I'm done here. I think I'm gonna go home now." It's like, yeah, okay, okay. So yeah, it definitely gets to people. It's crazy. Like we can't even. I don't think we can really fathom just because we interact with people so much in our day to day. But the amount of empty space and just like sounds of the forest there are when you're just by yourself and your voice is the only one. Like it might feel like when you watch a show like that they're talking to you, but that person's just staring at a camera alone, and they're just like with no type of interaction other than the medical staff coming to see them. So yeah, it would be even lonelier if like in your version, Gouda, where like they just have a health tracker on, so no one has to come out there at all. Like, yeah, you're gonna succumb to that pretty quickly if you live in any type of modern society.
What if you can bring like a team, like the USA had a team? Like yeah, each country had like a team of like 5 people. I feel like they would last for like basically ever at that point then, because
Yeah,
you
it's
get
not really.
human interaction.
Yeah, it's not really survival then. It's more just like I'm hanging out with a group of people in a different part of the U.S. or a different part of the world. It just seems like a meetup in the
I
You
mean,
don't
it's
think that
forest.
tough
would
to
still
like
be hard?
survive. You got to
Uh,
provide food for all those people. They
not
all have to
not
like make
hard,
it through.
not hard enough to be an Olympic sport. No, that might be a fun like activity amongst friends who don't know what they're doing. But if you had actual survivalists do that, no, they could do it.
Okay, okay. Well then, what if they do like each country gets like 100 people and they plop them in the middle of nowhere, and whoever builds a functional society first wins.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I think that would be hard, but I can't ever imagine enough people from every place volunteering for something like that.
Right
Like for
now,
40 days or something like that. Like you
No.
start with nothing. Like everyone starts with like literally the clothes on their back, and there's 100 people, and you have to figure out,
Yeah,
yeah,
why would I
who
want
has
to?
the
Why would
best
I want to be?
society at the end of this.
Yeah, why would I want to be a part of that though? Like, I don't see the incentive for someone wanting to do that. Like,
That'd be pretty cool.
you just be putting yourself through chaos for just for other people's laughs. Like, nah,
no, it's for a medal, man.
Yeah,
nah,
it's for the best country.
definitely not. I don't need to be. My country has a society already, and why do I need to be the one who builds the best one inside of my own country? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, your
I don't know,
country
just to
already
prove
has
you're the best.
skiers and runners already. Why do you have to be the best one of that? But they do it.
Uh, yeah, they do. I don't see the point of I don't see how you rank that. Like this seems like a lot like best society. How does a group of people who already have their own societies rank which one's the best? They're all gonna probably say the ones that are closest to theirs. Like what?
That's true.
Like
So there would have to be some way
there's
to
no
like
objective
judge which
measure.
one's better.
Yeah,
So I feel like
there's no
you
objective
can
measure
probably
in
judge it
best.
by a couple different ways, like whether like their social like how their social standards are, or
But see, like
like
right there, you've already come with 1,000 assumptions. There's some states
how
who
much buying power they have, or maybe like their military strength.
yeah,
Or
you're
maybe you can just have them all go to war with each other at the end, like.
you're mentioning
But
all
that's like
things that
purely military
the
strength.
U.S. cares about, like social
No, that's
standing, military strength, and like what
that's
was the
all.
other
That's
one you said?
everything you would want with a society. What else would you want?
That's what everyone in like the United States would want. I don't
What
know.
else would there be for like any society?
Well, I don't even think the things you mentioned are things that every society necessarily like builds towards in the way that we do. So like I don't think every country wants to have the strongest military out of anyone in the globe. I think there are some countries who want that, but I think there's some other countries who are just like, especially at the size, it doesn't even really make sense to be having the strongest military. Like I don't think places like Sweden want to have the strongest military. I don't think they think this is the marker of a great society. Like no one in Sweden really thinks that. So like already that's a bias. That's a U.S. bias. Like how does Sweden get a fair shake in that if they just don't build a military? They're just like nah, we're good.
I mean, they better build a military. If they didn't build a military, they'd be part of Germany or Russia today.
Well, okay, I was talking about in the context of like your game where like you're building a perfect society.
Well, military wasn't the only thing I said though. Like I said, societal standing or like not societal standing, like social advances like in society, like
What
how
is
well
that?
your people are living essentially. Like is there just
Ooh.
one guy who has all the power and all like the goods, or is it like distributed amongst the people? Like, but like, yeah, that's the question essentially. Like, how would you even,
Yeah,
I
you,
guess, judge that? You
yeah,
can
you
have
don't.
scores of each category, I suppose. That would kind
Yeah.
of make sense.
But the scores have to be based on something, and the moment you base it on something that you think is reasonable, you've already introduced a level of bias that sort of weeds out the Swedens of the world.
I feel like it's pretty reasonable
If you had enough, like, so just
to
as an
have
example,
every society want like
i-
their people to be living good, like the things I named basically. Like that's what you would
if
just
yeah,
that's what you would normally want in a
but that's
society.
so general. Like
Even
living,
Sweden does have a military and like they
no,
do
they
take it
do.
seriously.
But I'm saying living good is so general. Like everyone has a different idea of what living good is. Like that sounds great. Like yeah, we all want people to live good, but like what does that mean?
I feel like you could probably narrow it down to like five-ish categories, even
Okay.
across the whole world.
Okay. I think if it was that simple, we wouldn't have 1,000 different society. Like we wouldn't have multiple societies all functioning in different variations and ways. Like if it was as simple as we can all agree on what the best standards are and the best things we can that we should be striving for, there would be no reason to have such strict borders at all because our ideas wouldn't be different enough for us to even merit having different governments.
I mean, like that is kind of true for like at least a third of the world so far. I mean, there's really only like three different like governments out there, anyways. It's just like
What? There's definitely more than three
democracy,
three government. No, oh, okay.
communism, and
Yeah, okay, categories,
like
sure, but
I
within
guess like
within those categories, how many different types of like there's so many different ways those are implemented, I guess is what I'm saying. That it would in my mind it would be really hard to be able to decide that. If you think it'd be easy, then I guess, but I just don't see how you come up with five. You're like, yeah, it'd be easy to do five. Okay, then what are the five? What would the five be that you think every country would agree on and send their people to go strive for? And be specific. Like
well,
good people having good lives is not specific.
okay, yeah, I would say buying power, like how much you can just like hand over whatever, yeah, whether it's currency or whatever, to just make shit happen when like it really has no business happening. Like how Qatar just has like enormous buying power for just no good reason, but it's like crazy valuable. So like that's I would say would be a category.
So just the amount
Military
of
strength,
money.
that's an
Wait,
easy
wait,
one.
wait. So just the amount of money your wait, the amount of money your country itself has, or the individual people within it have.
I would say the country itself.
Okay. I
Yeah,
don't
the
think
country itself.
I
I,
don't
I
think
would put
military
the
strength
amount of
is an easy
money.
one. But go ahead, keep going.
I would say that's a fair one. If you're all starting from just 1,000 people with the clothes on their back, like someone better build some sort of security. Otherwise, like, aren't you just gonna get taken over by someone? Like,
I agree that I think each society would have a different version of what military or like police structure would be, but or like law and order, but I don't think the way that they would strive to get to that would be military in the way that you're thinking. Like I
like
don't
what
think
would?
everyone wants that. Like a small
Why?
like a
Why
small
wouldn't you want
military.
that?
The same
Like, if
I
you
would
had the
assume.
choice of no military or a military,
Well, I'm not. I guess
like, you
I
would
don't
just
think
choose
it's.
to have one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't think it's as simple as military or none. I think there's like you could decide the size, like how much are you going to invest in that. That's why we have differences now.
Right.
Right, yeah. So like what if I
So that's
think
part of it. Like, that's part of the game. Like, you have to decide how much, what part of the
yeah.
categories do you want
Yeah,
to
but
like
yeah,
focus in.
I'm saying who decides like why would I sign up for military strength if I am of the opinion that I don't need the strongest military? Like I could believe that I should have a military. But why would I think that one of the top pillars of a successful society should be the strongest military if I already think the society I'm going to set up doesn't necessarily need the strongest one? Like I'm just signing up for something that I don't believe in then.
Oh, like, well, obviously you wouldn't be picked to join the team if the team's plan was to not focus on military, then like they would probably want to pick you, and then you'd want to join them. But like if your national team strategy wasn't or was to focus on military, then they
I'm saying,
probably wouldn't pick you to like
but that's
be
what
one
I'm.
of the 100 people.
But I'm saying I don't think that the a country who believes that military strength, having being the strongest, is not what you have to do. I don't even think they would sign up for a competition like this because the moment you said that that was a parameter or a pillar, they'd be like, well. Why would that be? Like that doesn't necessarily make it. Like I don't think you'd even be able to agree on that to have them have a team is what I'm saying.
Okay, maybe that would be true, and some countries would be like, this game
Yeah,
isn't fair, and then I wouldn't join. But like most
right.
countries have a military, and I feel like I wouldn't see them being like, I oppose this.
I I agree with you. I think you're saying that having a military necessarily predisposes you to thinking that having a military that's the strongest is the best. I'm saying that's the part I disagree with. I think we all can agree that each country probably should have a military, but I don't think every country that has one thinks having the strongest one in existence is one of the best five things I could do when I build a society.
I mean,
Mm.
what would you place above that on your top five above military? I guess like I'm struggling to even think of five with military. Like
I personally agree with you, but I'm in a state that has one of the strongest militaries. Like
you agree with
obviously,
me? What the fuck have we been debating this for? Like,
because
god damn it.
because if I don't agree with you on the part of that you can get everyone else to agree to have that like an Olympic sport. Like no one else other than the U.S. would ever sign up for that the way you're describing it. That's the
I
only
don't,
people
and
that would
yeah,
sign up for
I
that
don't
is
see
the
why not,
U.S.
because you all start on an even playing field. So you could, the U.S. might not have the best military at the end of the competition. Like
I'm not saying they
it's just like
couldn't.
random.
I'm not saying that people in other countries couldn't build the strongest military. I'm saying I don't think people in other countries want that. The way you're describing as like that being something to strive for to be the top five. I don't think people in other places care about that the way that you do, or the way
Then
that
what
we
else
do.
would be above the top five? I
You
mean,
should
like I'm just like,
you should probably ask the countries that have smaller militaries. There's lots of them.
I'd be willing to bet that even the countries with smaller militaries would say that it makes sense to judge a society on not just the size of its military, but that would be definitely like a major point of like judging the strength
Yeah,
or
yeah,
successfulness of a
yeah,
society.
and I
Like
disagree with
even
that.
Luxembourg, I feel like if you walked up some random person, they would probably say like, okay, like our country is fine because it doesn't have this. Maybe, or maybe they might be like, our country needs to fucking like get that together. But like, I definitely think it could easily be
I,
basically 50-50 whether someone thinks a military is important or not. And honestly, I would say maybe
maybe.
even less than that, like
I
because like
I
that's like one of the most basic human things. Like the first thing you do is make a military.
I think part of the reason you think that is because of where we are, and I get it because I think that too to some regard. I don't think people in other places think that as strongly as you do, and I think it's evidenced by the fact that that's not where their focus is. Like
Who says that's not where their focus is? Like, do you
I don't.
think like
Well,
most of the world
I
doesn't
named.
focus on a military?
No, I'm not saying they don't have one. I'm just saying that if we polled all the military leaders in every single country smaller than the U.S., I don't think that the majority of them would say, yeah, we're striving to have the strongest military in the whole globe. I don't think that that's their focus.
Well, that's not possible for like 90% of the military. But
And
like
I
you,
think
they
that's my
are
point.
striving to have a strong military. Like their
I don't.
president is just like, that's fine. Like fuck that
No,
category. Like we don't
no,
care about that.
I agree.
It's like
I agree they have
it's
one.
like
I
one
just
of the top, if not like the top category for like any government, basically.
I agree that I think people in countries have military. I'm not debating that with you. I'm just saying if you poll, I think if you got all these people together and was like, all right, best society, I just don't believe that they would pick that. That's just how I think about it.
We'll have to. I don't even know how we would settle this, but I would think oppositely, and I would believe that most people would want that. But I don't think that everyone believes if they don't have the best military in the world, that means their country's shit. Like, but I definitely do absolutely think that most people would want a military for their country that can at least like defend itself. Like,
Yeah, but like
but
we've already not like now we've dropped the bar. We went from top five pillar of the strongest military to it's important to
that
have one at
it's
all.
still a top five, I would say. Like, yeah, for
But
sure. I would
yeah,
definitely still stick by like most
okay.
countries would say having a military would be the top five priorities for like their government in general.
Yeah, but that's a different question than the one you asked when we started this. The first one you asked was, what were the top five priorities of making a successful society? And then you
That's the
switched.
same thing.
It's not necessarily. If you're starting a society from scratch, you might not necessarily set it up the way you have your society today.
I would say if you're starting a society from scratch, you one of the top five things would be a military.
Right, I understand that you believe that. I'm saying I don't think other people believe that. And every time I say
And
that,
that is what
you're
that was the
saying
question where I first started. Like that is the whole first question.
no. The first question was whether or not someone who's starting a brand new society would pick the military as the standard for one of the top five standards for whether or not their society is successful in a game where we're all collectively building societies together. That is not the same thing as saying if we build a society for real, we're going to actually have a military so we can protect ourselves. Like that's not the
I'm
same
saying in
thing.
the game and for real,
Yeah, I don't think they're the I don't think
it
they're
would
the
be
same.
top five.
Yeah, I don't
So
think they're the
like it's
same.
the same question basically.
Yeah, I don't think they're the same. I think if you ask people based on the premise that you guys set up before, I don't think they would say that's the top five thing that you should focus on to have people who are successful or like have a society that's successful. If you're doing it in real life
I
and you're
would.
starting from zero, sure, because that's real life. But I don't think if you're doing it for like Olympic credit and medals like we were talking about before, like no, I don't think anyone's focusing on that.
Okay, and I would believe for both scenarios that they would most people would put military in the top five. But really like it was just like the game scenario was the only one I was really trying to focus on. But
Yeah,
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 I,
that was the one that I thought like I don't know. I feel like there's enough altruistic people out there that they would focus on much more social concepts.
can you
Uh,
think of five others?
like they're important to me, or what do I think other people might say?
What other people might say?
Yeah, I think people would focus, especially people in the United States, like people maybe a little bit younger than us, if they sign up for the game. I think like whatever they think social equity is something that they would probably focus on. So like everyone being represented in very specific percentages across different demographics and different like occupations, things like that. I think people who are younger than us definitely believe that having a wealth of ideas from different looking people and different backgrounds of people is like a top priority for them. And like me personally, I don't necessarily believe that's true. Like, I think there's benefits in it, but I don't know if I'd say it's top five.
Okay, well that's one.
Yeah, so that
Four
one for
more to
sure.
go.
Yeah, I think socialism is probably a big one that people would focus on, especially people younger than us. Like not even equal opportunity, but equal outcomes for pretty much everything. Which strangely enough kind of kills the whole thing, the whole point of competition. If you all kind of just get the same result always. So I think that one for sure. That would be another one. Um, Probably some people would focus on like our impact on the environment. I think that would be a big one for a lot of people. So like
Actually, I like that one.
what our digital footprint is. Um,
That's a good
again,
one.
again, I think it's a good one, but I don't know that it's in my top five. I would have to really think to figure out a good top five for that. That's why I said I think it's really hard. Like I think it's way harder than what you've said. Like I don't know. It would take me a long time to agree on five that I thought were like good.
Yeah, I
But
feel like the categories are kind of broad,
yeah,
and yeah, so like eventually, like I couldn't even think of five. Like
yeah.
even on top of the two you added, like one of them was this is like kind of the same thing I was thinking of, like basically. So like I would just assume military's got to be on there. I mean, because like I can't think of anything better. It's like, all right, you have all your shit. People have money. All right, let's get some guns and bombs and shit, I guess. Like, what else is there to do? And then the environment, that was a good one. Actually, I didn't think I like that one actually. Like, if there was an Olympic game,
yeah.
that would be a cool
But see,
category to
like
go
even the
by.
first two that I mentioned, they weren't important to you. So immediately you're like, well, why would I even bother with those? But I think there's enough people who would bother with those, like legitimately, even though I
Yeah,
wouldn't. Like I think that's what would make it hard. It's like there's so
I
many
would be like, and that's
categories. Good.
I would say that's a fair category. Even like all of our ideas, I think that we only came up with five total together just
No,
now.
we did. I just did three. So there's definitely. And if you said maybe one of mine was similar, I don't know which one, but you did. I think you came up with four,
I thought I
three
came
or
up with
four.
three. Like, I think the mine were like buying power,
Okay.
the mm, just the general standard of living that everyone has, like whether like one person has all the power or whether it's like more like spread out. So that's like your socialism thing. Like it's like the scale of socialism. Are you at the scale where you're like 100% socialism, or are you all the way on the other side where it would be one person has all the power? And I guess like
Okay.
you
Yeah.
want in a society, you want it to be higher to socialism, right? Because like your society is made of people, and like that
No.
supposedly is like what makes more people happy. Like who would
I would
vote
not. I would not
for
want that.
the other side?
For socialism, who would vote for socialism or who would vote for not socialism?
For like fascism essentially, or authoritarianism, like where the power is just in like a very few, and
I
then most of
mean,
the people like their lives totally suck. Like who would vote for that? I mean, people do, which is just crazy, but like
I kind of feel like part that could be a version of socialism though, because like if you personally, what choices are you making if you don't have like okay, let me put it this way. You said buying power was one of the big ones, right? So like how much your country can actually purchase, I guess, with maybe with other countries. But like if you personally don't have any more or less buying power in your within your own country, what power do you have? If even your own country admits that there's some value in having buying power across other societies, how does it benefit you to not have any? Or to not basically have any more than anyone else, which basically means you don't have any. Like if it's
yeah,
predetermined what you can buy, then there's no mystery. The power is gone.
like if everything is equal,
Now,
right, there
because
is no
I can
power.
mathematically branch out every single possible scenario of what you can purchase. I already know. Like you have no power if I can predict your moves.
Yeah, like the individual person would have like no power, but the country could still amass
Oh
buying
yeah,
power
yeah.
for
The
that.
country would the country would probably be hella powerful.
Right.
At least to
That
other
is true.
countries. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just be like, all right, everyone's gonna work in the gold mines today, and this
the
is what's gonna happen,
the gold mines.
and it's equal, so everyone's doing it. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Techno, but yeah, I do think I like that's why I said I agree with you. I do think we would get to like military, maybe not in the way that you're talking about of just like straight up army boots on the ground. Like the way you said military, that's what I was thinking. Like just straight up boots on the ground. I thought if in my society, I would think that would come about through like technology. Like eventually you would make enough technological advancements that you have to eventually have an organization that keeps things away from other people, and that immediately becomes your military. The moment you start keeping secrets, you have you have to have someone to guard it. So yeah, like you're a military now. You have
I
one.
mean, or police. Like police are
Or
kind of like
police.
a military.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Like
Yep.
if your country doesn't have a military and like someone started like running up,
Then there's no
like Hamas
consequences.
attacked, then like your police would be the ones that you would send after them, I guess.
Yeah,
Right, there wouldn't be
police.
any consequences if you didn't have anyone.
Right. Yeah. So there has to be police and some type of military. That's I think that's definitely true. I think there are people who have views of the world though that are so altruistic that they believe it can exist without that.
Yeah, no. I mean, you could like Switzerland, like they fucking had that like
Yeah.
terrorist jet fly over their country, and like it was during off hours, so like they didn't scramble any jets.
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, they just flow
but
right through
see,
our airspace.
but
Like,
see, like
but they're allied with every single one of the surrounding countries, so there's no
right.
need for
Well, see,
a
like
military.
they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth. You can't act like you're tranquil when you ally. You just outsource your dirty work. You're just like, I'm not gonna do it, but if you come up in here, you got all these motherfuckers to deal with. like basically, I feel like that's what places like that do. In order for them to be altruistic, there has to be someone who's willing to get their hands dirty if something happens to them. Otherwise, they're like you said, there's no fear of consequence. You'd be taken over
Yeah.
instantly.
And they almost were like in World War II, but then they promised the Nazis a safe place to keep their gold, and since they weren't at war with anyone else, no one else could invade them to get the gold back. So like that they got their hands dirty and they didn't get invaded. Yeah, that's exactly true.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good old
interesting.
Switzerland.
Yeah, so Olympic Committee, if you're listening, hey, we got a good idea for you.
Yeah, we got a good
This
idea.
this will be absolute madness. We can't
The
even
society games.
Olympic committees can't even agree on like who skated the best. There's no way they would be able to
Yeah, they're
handle.
the most corrupt out of all of them.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
corruption, that can be a category. Like, how
Yeah.
much corruption do you have? How much are people skimming off the top?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh,
the
yes,
skim.
and will you be skimming off the top? Yes, yes, I will. That's right. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah. I'm here for your best skim. Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Well, I think we'll leave it there. Some good thoughts in that conversation and yeah, don't fight bears and fight the patriarchy, right? Is that what you guys were saying?
Ugh.
Is that
Yeah,
what I heard?
Jesus Christ.
build society, the patriarchy.
Yeah. Just.
uh, uh,
Hilarious.
Mm-mm-mm.
um, but yeah, until next week. Yeah, that's episode 41. Uh,